Yeah.
So our advice to people is, if you could afford the loan at 7%,
Yeah.
my recommendation is to, although you're going on a lower rate,
Yeah.
keep your repayment the same.
Yeah.
Let's say your mortgage is only around $400,000-$500,000
Yeah.
on it, but then according to the bank, your house is worth $1 million. You can borrow up to 800,000. Not every property is a good investment.
Yeah.
Right, so you need to figure out what the whether or not it's a cash flow positive or if there's any other upside to that property. The biggest challenge for them is not having enough deposit, but deposit is just one part of the equation. $600 a week in rent.
Yeah.
But you're not saving anything.
Yeah.
Now you won't coming to me and then ask, hey, look, I want to borrow $800,000.
Yeah.
But then $800,000 loan is going to cost you probably $1,000 a week.
Exactly.
Plus you're going to pay rates, insurances, property maintenance, all that stuff. All of a sudden your repayments going to be double than
The cost
your
of
rent.
Yeah.
Tell me where that extra $600 is going to
Come from.
for them.
So even if you're going and inquiring for a loan,
Yeah.
but you don't get it, and later when you are in the process where you want to take the loan now,
Yeah.
that is going to affect you.
Correct. Because
Right,
every time
very
you apply,
interesting.
every time you apply, they do a credit check on you.
Yeah, I had no idea about this. Couple of fumbles here and there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode. Growth is part of our DNA, and every species on the planet is wired for growth. And so we are as humans. So one of the very important and significant part of growth is buying a home for us as humans. Here in New Zealand, there are a lot of people who are Kiwis and migrants who chase this dream. So today we're going to talk about real estate and mortgage here in New Zealand, and with a very special guest, Sanjeev Jangra, who is himself a mortgage advisor and a migrant from India. He has a very interesting story to share with us, all the way from a small town in India to New Zealand. And let's get to know him. Well, Sanjay, thank you so much for making some time today for this podcast. And I'm really honored to have you here. If you could just please share a little bit about yourself before we dive into this conversation deeper.
Sure. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. So I migrated from India back in 2008. Was in the middle of global financial crisis. So when I came here, basically as a student, so I studied business, and then from there onward, my whole life trajectory changed.
Right, very interesting. Well, there are a lot of people who travel from India and all of the different countries to New Zealand,
Yes.
and everyone has a dream. They have to succeed, they have to grow. So we're gonna know more about Sanjeev, about his journey, because it's really important to know the person, his background, before we get some advices from him. Sanjeev, tell me, which part of India do you come from?
So I came from Punjab. There's a small town called Namashahr. Not many people know this place, but yeah, so that's where I belong. So I came here when I was about 22, 23. As a student, solo.
Right.
I have no idea what I was doing, but like we just.
So what did you do back in India? Like, what did you study?
So I was studying economics.
Right. Okay.
And then I'm also doing working as a carpenter.
Oh, really?
Totally
Very
different
interesting.
field.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Because I like to create things. So
Yeah.
that's when I was like, okay, I want to do carpentry. I want to be the biggest carpenter in India when I be there. So I started learning all those things. But then at the same time, I was studying economics as well. So I've
Right.
done my bachelor's in economics.
Yeah.
And then I think 2008, I wanted to go to UK, but then I couldn't get a visa. I mean, I didn't apply for it basically. So then someone told me about New Zealand. I didn't even know where New Zealand was, to be frank.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, fast forward, I arrived in New Zealand in 2008.
Okay.
On a student visa.
Right.
I wanted to study business, but
Yeah.
then when I came here, I found out that you can actually change your courses when you come
Right.
here.
Okay.
So I went to MIT in Ottawa. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, look, I don't want to study business. I want to be a carpenter.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Right.
want to be a builder or tradie and
Yeah.
things like that. So went there, so, hey, can I get an admission in that? But then someone from there told me that, hey, New Zealand is in recession. We are such a small economy. We're
Yeah.
not going to recover for another 5-10 years.
Right.
Don't worry about being a carpenter. Maybe study business, you get somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's where my whole life's trajectory changed. So
Right.
I was like, okay, no more carpentry. Let's do what we can do.
You raise a very important point where how you can change your career, and we're going to talk about it. When you're coming here as a student, you still have the option to change your studies, so you can choose a different career.
Yep.
But going back to India, what were your, if you can just share like one of the most beautiful memory from India?
Obviously, I mean, you know, you're born and bred there. You grow up like you have different dreams when you're there, because obviously your parents are looking after you. You've got nothing to worry about, that sort of thing. For me, was just, I don't know, bro. Like I've got so many memories, but I can't put them all together. It's just like being with the family. Being like, I don't know, spend my time with my grandparents. And that sort of things.
Right, that's very nice. So how do you like? When you came here, what was the most challenging part when you were transitioning yourself while coming from preparing to go to New Zealand, like applying for your visa and everything? So what was the most challenging part over there?
Getting a student visa, that wasn't that hard back then. But then the hardest part was like you here in this country and you know no one. Right? I did not even know where New Zealand was until I bought the tickets. Right. So we got here. I knew no one, but I was staying with someone's, you know, as a boarder. So we were sharing one bedroom. There were 3 of us.
Of course, that's the story of most of the migrants over here, right? Like that.
Exactly. But then I came here with probably, I only had about $1,000 in my pocket.
Right.
And that $1,000 were paid 3 weeks of rent in advance. You're on bond and all that, and then like bought a bus pass to CBD because you had to go there, and a mobile phone. In the end, I had only $20 left in my pocket.
Wow.
And no chance to bring money from India either. Right. So with $20 in pocket and only 2 weeks to survive, I was looking for a job like there's no tomorrow.
Wow.
Right. And I was in the middle of GFC. So hard to find a job because people are losing their jobs.
Absolutely.
And what I got lucky, I found my first job in Subway.
Oh, Subway, right? Okay.
But then the challenging part there was that wasn't my thing.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been like playing with the hammers and like, you know, all the saws and all this stuff, and all of a sudden I have to cut bread. That wasn't my thing. That job only lasted for 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
But then like, so biggest challenge for me was picking up the accent when you're talking to strangers or Kiwis here, because obviously Kiwi accent is a bit different than American accent, so you don't have that much of a, you know, you don't understand the slang. So that was the difficult part for me, knowing no one and you know, trying to understand the language.
So when you're already here, you started with your studies and everything. So how long did your study go for?
My study was there for 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah, but then the challenging part for me was I found a job at a gas station.
Right. Okay.
But I was doing night shifts. So you work on a Sunday and a Monday night. But then my college or my, you know, wherever I was studying was on Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
So you work throughout the night and then you go study.
Go study. Oh my God.
And you're not sleeping at all.
That's the struggle of every migrant. It's not easy if you see a migrant overseas and say, oh, his life is pretty good. No, well, there you go. That's the truth. That's how we survive. And so it's, of course, it's not easy for anyone to come here, work, at the same time study, and you did it. So how did you find out like you want to be into this field?
It was like, I never in my life I thought I will be in banking. But obviously, you know, sometimes you're destined to be whatever you want to be.
But you are a man of multiple talents. You've been into carpentry, then you went into F&B, and then you went into gas station, and now you are in bank, right? Okay, let's keep it going. All right.
So I'll start from the beginning. So I was in Subway. So within 2 weeks, I was like, nah, not my thing. Then I found a job at a gas station. I was working as a part-time, like, you know, as you do. So I was doing night shifts and stuff. But then what I did there, I didn't want myself to limit to just that one job.
Yeah.
So what I started doing whenever I was free,
Yeah.
on my free days, I'll go to the gas station. I'll talk to the manager. Hey, look, I want to work for free, but I want to learn the back end.
Yeah.
I want to see what you guys are doing in the background,
Yeah.
right? So then I would go there, learn all the paperwork and
Yeah.
everything. And then even during the nights, I'll do all the stock takes,
Right.
enter all the stuff in the computer. So, you got to be ready for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I was preparing myself for that.
Course.
Yeah. So fast forward, those gas station franchisees were sold to like private ownerships and all that stuff. So, but then all those old people lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to retain it.
Oh.
But then because I was prepared for everything, fast forward within a few months, there was an opportunity that one of the store manager had to go overseas for a month or so, and then I was handling the store.
Oh,
and
which gas station was this?
It was Caltex.
Right.
So these guys had multiple.
Yeah, of course.
Gas stations, right?
It's a major brand here in New Zealand.
Yes, so they had multiple stores, but I was fortunate enough to handle that store for 1 month.
Yeah.
And within that 1 month, their profit went up.
Oh, right. Okay.
And
You did a
then
good job.
the owner saw the opportunity there. Oh, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, can you handle this store for us?
Yeah.
And then one after the other store. So I was doing that. So they helped me to get the residency.
Yeah. Okay,
basically.
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So I got my residency back in probably 2012.
So 2008 to 2012.
12.
Yeah, all right. So almost 4 years back in those days. Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I found that, but then I did not want to be in a comfort zone anymore.
Yeah.
Because at the gas station, I was being a manager, like the other people managing, like doing all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, look, if I stay here for another year, I'm going to be useless.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a comfort zone. And then I started pushing myself. I'm a very big introvert.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I don't talk to too many people, but now it's different. Like back then I was like, nah.
Yeah, you don't want to, yeah.
So I wanted to push myself. I wanted to go into sales.
Yeah.
But then I was lucky enough, I applied for a few jobs, and then some of the, sales rep came to our store at the time. I was talking to them. I was like, hey, what do you guys do day to day? And then there's one guy who was like, why are you asking all these questions? I was like, look, because I'm looking to get into sales. And then he's like, okay, let's come, like you got to come with me to Tauranga.
Okay.
Right? I'll get you an interview with the company director.
Oh, nice.
And then see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? So this guy took me to Tauranga, we did an interview and all this, and I found a territory manager job. So what is that?
Oh, nice.
It's like a sales guy.
Yeah.
So I was selling pies for them, right? So
Right.
you know how like the pies and stuff?
Yeah, of course.
So I used to look after every single supermarket in Auckland region.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from up north till at the boundary of Auckland.
Yeah.
So that opportunity was there.
Yeah.
I was making a lot of bonuses
that's nice.
every month. But then fast forward, within 6 months, I was made redundant.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because the guy wanted
shock.
to sell the company to someone else.
Right.
And then he wanted to show like a lot of profit.
Yes,
but then he didn't want to lose me.
Yeah.
But the problem was they had to make everyone redundant.
Yeah.
Because they had to restructure.
Yeah.
That's why my whole life changed. So I went on holidays and stuff, and I came back. Next thing you know, I applied for a temporary role.
Right.
So there was a company called Salmet. So they used to hire people on a, like, I don't know, like a temporary project.
Okay.
Yeah. So you do 4 weeks, 6 weeks sort of a project. And at the same day, I had an interview with ANZ.
Right.
Right. So I went to ANZ's interview, went well, everything. And then within half an hour, I had the other interview with, that was like 40 of us in a group.
Yeah.
Went for that interview. That was a temporary role. I didn't even know what the job was for.
Yeah.
Went home. My partner at the time, she was like, hey, look, how was your interview?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, like, both interviews were very well.
Yeah.
I will go with the one who will call me first. And it was funny, like 7 o'clock at night, Salmet calls me.
Right.
Hey, can you actually come to Westpac's building in CBD at 8:30 in the morning?
Okay.
I was like, yes. I didn't even know what the job was.
Yeah, okay.
So we went there, 40 of us on a temporary sort of a role. There was only 6 weeks project.
Yeah.
All I had to do was just answer customers' query, tell them what the benefits of the credit cards were.
Yeah.
But at the end of the 6 weeks period, again, I got lucky.
Oh, okay.
Not
Right.
lucky in the sense because I wasn't the brightest,
Yeah.
but I was the hardest working guy.
Hardworking, right.
So someone told me that there's always someone watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what you're doing.
Okay.
So I landed the job, right?
Yeah.
Basically, Westpac offered me a full-time job.
Oh,
Out of
nice.
40, 2 of us got the job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
So I landed that, and that changed my whole life basically.
Right.
So I worked with Westpac for about three and a half years.
Yeah.
Learned all the lending and everything, and
Yeah.
then I moved to TSP as a. I was working in a broker unit,
Yeah.
so I was processing all these applications, and then I became a business development manager for them. And after that, I was like, I had enough. Let's start my own thing.
That's quite an interesting journey, and it comes with a lot of passion, hard work, and smart work at the same time.
Yeah.
So before we proceed, I would like our viewers to know, because there's a lot of people who would be interested in these kind of jobs. They're
Yeah.
just starting their career, right?
Yeah.
So one of to what you explained to me just now. Can you give like 2 advices based on that portfolio till the time where you started from the contract job till the time you decided to jump into your own business? So 2 points where this is the most important aspect for your work, for your life, for your career.
Whatever you do, do it with the passion, right? There's no limit. Like if you would have met me 10 years ago, I was a very, very basic guy, right? Now I'm one of the top mortgage advisors in the country. So whatever you do it with the passion, whether you're working at a gas station or whether you're working at a bank. Don't limit yourself to just that role itself. And don't think that, hey, look, I don't want to work more than what I'm getting paid for. That's the biggest challenge people have. That's the biggest reason they don't grow. Because if you're not learning, everyone gets the opportunity, but you've got to be ready to grab that opportunity. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. So that's why, like, if I go back to my own career, if I wasn't learning that free, I wasn't working for free or learning all the back end of the office work at the gas station, there was no chance I would become a manager, right? Because there's so much competition out there.
Exactly.
And then if I wasn't working that hard as a temporary recruit at Westpac, I wouldn't land a full-time job at Westpac.
Right.
And if I wasn't working that hard to grow my career in Westpac, I wouldn't be here.
Exactly. That's very well said and very inspiring. So all the viewers who are watching this and you've heard this, please make sure you follow this, because I truly believe myself in this thing. And this is how you grow in your life. Now we're going to go a little bit serious into our topic for the day. And it is about real estate and mortgages, right? Sure. And I have a list of some good questions. So of course, I'm gonna put it on a paper. Right. So what were the toughest challenges you faced in the early days of your career? Very important question.
Look, when I was at the bank, I wasn't the sharpest guy out there. As I said, like I was the introvert, right? But then you learn with from the gurus out there. So I was fortunate enough to learn all the basics of lending at Westpac. But then when I left the bank, I started my own thing. I had absolutely no idea where my first client going to come from. It was just passion. Like I just believed in myself. I was like, okay, I'll just do it.
That's very important.
Yeah. I was like, we'll do something, right? So we're going in there. The biggest challenge for me was no network. Absolutely no network. I had no idea. But then got lucky that every client I helped, it referred 1 or 2 other clients. Right. And then I was fortunate enough to connect myself with a real estate company. Right. Okay. So they were providing us a lot of leads. Right. So although we don't have that connection anymore, but they were the cornerstone of my career.
Oh, that's very cool. So what was there a defining moment when things started to change for you in New Zealand?
Yes. If I go back to my journey, like originally, yes. I mean, when I came here, obviously every migrant go through that same challenge. You'll be like, hey, look, this is not the country, right? This is very boring. The lifestyle is very slow and whatnot.
Be honest and tell me, what was the first thought when you landed on the airport, when you see no development coming from India?
Look, the funny story is when I landed here, I knew one guy that was from our hometown, and then he was like, okay, let's go to CBD. I'll show you how to buy a bus card and then a phone number and all that. So we landed. I caught a bus from Epsom to Queen Street, right? So we were walking on Queen Street, and the whole Queen Street finished in like 5 minutes. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, this is it? He said, yeah, this is it. I was like, what the hell? Where am I?
I mean, when I landed and saw the airport, I was like, am I in the right place?
Yeah.
Did they drop me at the right place?
Exactly. But then like you don't judge the book by its cover.
Of course.
But within like a year or so, I figured out the lifestyle is actually much, much better.
Yeah.
So today we travel to a lot of countries. I've recently been to US as well. Yes, those big buildings, those big like busy lifestyle, everything is there. Maybe the money is there too, but you don't get as much of, I don't know,
the peace and the
peace, yes.
and the family orientation over here in New Zealand is amazing. How we celebrate every single thing with family, not like big cities where you just go out and party. Yes, we do, but we are more family oriented here in New Zealand.
100%. And the Kiwis are the nicest people on earth. Like I've been around everywhere.
Yeah.
But like what you find here, the culture and everything is the nicest in the world.
Humbleness is amazing. So how did your background and the values from India help you to succeed here in New Zealand?
Okay, as I said, like I was studying economics, but at the same time I was working as a carpenter.
Yeah.
So totally different. So one tells me how to do smart work, but the other one was like how do I work hard, but not that hard that you're just limited to one job itself.
Exactly.
So when I was working as a carpenter, I wanted to be a biggest carpenter at least in my town.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just limited to I want to earn like 10,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees. I was like, nah, I want to have a team under me and want to create a business. So that entrepreneurship was somewhere there in my DNA.
Yeah.
So that's when when I landed here again, like wasn't limiting myself to just like a $20 an hour or $10 an hour and all those things. For me, yes, I worked really, really hard initially while I was on a work permit because all I wanted to do was, hey, at least cover my cost when I came here or get some sort of a money in hand if I had to go back.
Yeah.
Right. But then I got lucky that I got the residency and everything.
Exactly.
But that grind has shown me so much. So that's why we don't judge any student or any migrant trying to work hard.
Exactly.
So again, those early struggling sort of days have taught me so much.
That's really inspiring. But on a personal note, apart from these questions I have here, I feel like how we used to say back in our country, be the master of one, right? But I think the world has changed. Do you believe that? Because we have to do so many different things now?
100%. Yes. Again, if you're limiting yourself to just one thing, you don't know whether that job will exist tomorrow or not.
Exactly.
Right? So look at the AI coming in. If you would have asked me, say, 2 years ago, I would say, hey, look, graphic designers are the safest job. or contact center is the safest job because people want to talk to people. Right? But nowadays we have softwares we can call 10,000 people at once.
Yeah. Exactly.
You don't need call center jobs anymore. So if you're not changing yourself, if you're not challenging or learning new things, you're gonna get made redundant in no time. So.
Absolutely. So what led you to specifically to become a mortgage advisor? You did answer me the question, but we want to know in terms of when you went for the bank, you were selling credit cards. Now, from the transition from selling credit card to being a mortgage specialist.
Yeah. So when I went to Westpac, there was just a temporary contract, but then I was hired full-time as a lender. Yeah. And then I was doing all sorts of complex lending there, so home loans and everything. Because of my background being a carpenter, I always wanted to be in an industry somehow that would somehow relate to building, constructions and everything. So I was like, okay, if I couldn't be a developer, how about being a lender? Right, so I still wanted to be in the similar sort of industry. So that's where, so I learned all the home lending, all the complex stuff with Westpac, and then I moved to another bank where I was processing applications for the brokers.
Right.
And then I was learning how the brokers were presenting application, how the things were working.
Nice.
And when I became a business development manager, the brokers were calling me, hey, how do I make this deal work? Right? Because that's your job as a BDM. So you want to make every deal work.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to hunt the business for the bank. Yeah. Right. So that's what I was doing. I was going to brokers and, hey, look, we're going to turn around your application within 3 days, 4 days and whatnot.
Right.
Send us the application and I'll work out the scenarios with you.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll make it work for you.
Ah.
So that sort of thing. And then I figured out, hey, look, if I can help all these people, why don't I start my own thing?
Exactly.
Because every broker I was going to,
and you were at that point, I think you were a specialist in the field.
Exactly. So that's when like people started pitching me as well. Say, hey, why are you wasting your time with the bank? You should be a mortgage advisor.
Right.
So that's when I was like, and the biggest challenge for me at the time was like, although I was good in lending, but I was limited to one bank only.
Yeah.
Whereas now we deal with 30 plus lenders.
Yeah.
Right. So if one bank doesn't do the job, I can take you to second, third, fourth, fifth, whoever.
Yeah.
We have a lot of non-bank lenders as well. So sometimes you have to go to them. So
Right.
that's the whole reason, just to help my clients.
Yeah. And then as also gives you an opportunity to keep advancing in your field.
100%. And then again, end of the day, you creating a business.
Yeah.
So like being an employee versus being an employer where I employ a few people under my business.
Yeah.
So now those people look up to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So totally different
Very well done.
responsibility.
Very well done. So, did you face any extra challenges being new to the country when trying to establish yourself in this industry?
Originally, yes, as I said, like language was a big barrier.
Yeah.
Although I was speaking English, but wasn't fluent enough.
Yeah.
And the accent and everything. So I still remember like some, like, like hardcore Kiwis from the regions will come in, and then the slangs they were using are all like, what the hell they saying? Right? Or you're talking to a random Australian, it's like, oh, what is he saying? Like, I don't get it. Right. So those were the challenges.
Yeah.
And then not just that, again, having no money in pocket, and then you're trying to explore things, trying to learn the basics. Yeah. So I wasn't born here, or I wasn't here for so long. That sort of thing. And again, it's just the struggle is real at the beginning. But if you stick to your ground, I think you get somewhere.
Nice. So looking back, what was your first breakthrough client or a deal that you did in mortgage?
In a mortgage?
Yeah.
It's funny that obviously I didn't have a network.
Yeah.
My wife introduced one of her friend.
Yes.
They're like, hey, they're looking to refinance their mortgage. I said, yeah, let's do it. So I did the small refinance, and at the same time I showed him, hey, look, it's not just about like, finding the cheapest rate and whatnot. You actually have enough equity in your property that you can buy an investment property today.
Yeah.
So I showed him that, and then next thing you know, like, he bought an investment property at the same time as well. So the loan itself was only $400,000-$500,000 initially, but then we bought another investment property. It was another $1 million loan in the mix, right? And then after that, he told his friends, and then his friends told the other friends, and then like
the word of mouth.
The word of mouth sort of thing.
That's nice. That's well done. So for someone buying their first home today, what's the biggest challenge?
Look, I mean, there's so much information out there. People do get confused.
Yeah.
Right. So every
100%.
now and then, like when you open Facebook, TikTok, whatnot, and then the mortgage brokers shouting, oh yeah, 5% deposit, 10% deposit, this and that.
Yeah.
The problem here is more information you have, more confused you're gonna get. Right. The biggest challenge for people is they don't have enough deposit.
Yeah.
Or they don't have enough education, right? So they think, oh, you're going to have, I don't know, every house is worth $1 million here.
Yeah.
But that's not truth. Not every house is worth $1 million. You can find houses for $500,000 in Auckland as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Or people think their income is not good enough. No, it is, right? So sometimes people overestimate all the barriers rather than focusing on a solution. Yeah. So they think, okay, I need a $200,000 deposit. Maybe you don't. Maybe you only need $30,000, which you might have in your Kiwi saver. Right?
Exactly.
So it's the education, or people go to the bank directly, and the banker says, no, I can't do it. But it's only one bank who said no. Come to us, we have 30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. So like talking about this, of course, interest rates is one of the biggest factor. So how have interest rate and lending rules changed in last 2-3 years? I mean, the viewers mainly want to know this part.
Yeah. It's funny, like I think it's not just 2-3 years. I'll probably go back to 4 years ago when 2021 interest rates were ultra low because the government was printing so much money and everything was like almost free.
Yeah.
Right. So you could buy a house with only 1.99% interest rate or 2% sort of interest rate.
Yeah.
That's when a lot of investors jumped in.
Yeah.
They were like, oh yeah, this is the best deal ever.
Yeah.
Because you buy $1 million property.
Yeah.
Right. You're only paying $20,000 in interest.
Yeah.
For the year, and the rental income from that property is probably, I don't know, $40,000.
Yeah.
And people think like, oh wow, that's pretty good, right? You're making $20,000
exactly.
every year, and there's no, okay, I have to pay a little bit of tax, but it's not much.
Yeah.
It's greatest, and the property was growing like at a speed where there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So fast forward within like a year and a half or two, interest rates started going up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that 2% interest rate went all the way up to 7.34.
Yeah.
Right? So now people started struggling.
Yeah. Right. So at this 7, what would you say, like people from 2% obviously got affected when it went to 7%, but people went sitting at 7%. Well, do you think it's going to go above 7%? And my second question is, if it doesn't go above percent, do you believe, I think so, that people sitting on the 7% are more on a safer side, because if it goes low, it's, what do you think about that?
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So went up all the way to 7% in say 2024, and then from 2024 to now, they have come down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. So now at the moment we're sitting at around say 4.7% for 1 year rate. So those people who went from 2% to 7%, like when I was doing, all these loans for our customers, majority of them were fixed for between 3 to 5 years. So they have gone past the hard part. But I've seen people who are only fixing for 1 year. Those ones were the ones who were struggling with the cash flow and everything. But now we're looking at same loan that was costing you 7% has come down to 4.7. So our advice to people is, if you could afford the loan at 7%, my recommendation is to, although you're going on a lower rate, keep your repayment the same. Okay? If you keep the repayment the same, that 30-year mortgage should be paid off in around 14, 15 years. So, and you save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest.
Exactly. That's I'm going to do the same. Thank you for the advice.
No worries.
But you mentioned about, when you're talking about buying a house and the property, and you mentioned about investors, right? So this question is based on investors, because there are two parties in the market while they buy the house. One is investor, one is people like us who want to buy a house for themselves. So do first home buyers and investors approach mortgages differently?
Yes. So being a first home buyer, you have absolutely no idea where to start, and you will have a million questions for me, which I don't mind answering, and that's my job, right? So we help you, we help to make things as easy as possible, and I'll answer anything that you have in your mind.
Market, right? As many questions you have, come and ask him.
Because we've done it thousands of times, so there's nothing like, there's no silly questions. Like sometimes people get shy, it's like, oh, it sounds like a stupid question, like, should I ask him or not? But we already know what you're going to ask anyway, so don't worry about that. So we'll help you with that if you are a first home buyer. But at the same time, if you are an investor, because you have already gone through all the hard work, you already know what the process is and all that. And then the chances are, when you're an investor, you have enough equity sitting in your home, or you have a lot of cash to put as a deposit. But whereas you are a first home buyer, you're struggling with the first part, right?
Exactly.
So the good thing here is the property grows. Sometimes the property grows really fast, sometimes it doesn't. But let's say the hardest part here is to buy your first home. But once you bought your first home in a right way, in a right property, that will keep going up in value, and you'll have enough equity in that property itself that you can buy investment property without paying any deposit. Okay. So give you an example. Let's say you bought a house for, I don't know, $700,000 4 years ago, and now it's worth $1 million. The bank can lend you up to 80% of the current value of the house, right? Let's say your mortgage is only around $400,000 or $500,000 on it, but then according to the bank, your house is worth $1 million. You can borrow up to $800,000. So $800,000 minus your existing mortgage of say $500,000. Now you have $300,000 of usable equity, and that's your deposit for the next house, right? So investors understand it. So investors are a little bit different compared to first home buyers, because they've already gone through the process. But then investors also face a different sort of a challenge. The biggest challenge for them is not understanding the numbers. Right? Not every property is a good investment.
Yeah.
Right, so you need to figure out what the whether or not it's a cash flow positive or if there's any other upside to that property.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. We help with that as well.
That's amazing. Well, definitely coming to him, and if any one of my friends are looking for it, I'm definitely recommending him. So, as you said about new home buyers, they are the one who struggles. So, what are some common mistakes people make when applying for mortgage in New Zealand as a new home buyer?
The biggest challenge for them is not having enough deposit, but deposit is just one part of the equation. The biggest mistake I see in the people is like having a lot of credit cards or buy now, pay later, those sort of facilities.
Yeah.
Although they have money sitting in their account, but they are so used to buying those things at like no interest, that sort of thing. Let's say you go to Harvey Norman today and then someone will come up, hey, look, buy this sofa for $2,000, but you go on this card and this is interest only for 6 months, no worries, just, pay after 6 months and whatnot. But like if you keep accumulating all those little cards or buy now, pay later sort of facilities, it will bite you somehow, right? Because those loans will affect your borrowing capacity for the next house.
Yeah.
And the other challenge I have is people mismanaging their account. So although they have money in their account, but then every now and then it will go into unnecessary or unarranged overdraft. People don't understand it. So for them, it's a minor thing. Oh yeah, only pay $2 late penalty or whatnot. Yeah. But that affects your credit score quite a bit. So make sure you're not going into any unarranged overdraft or missing any payments at all, whether it's a phone bill or electricity bill or whatnot. And the third biggest one I see is people don't understanding what it takes to be a homeowner.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you're renting at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And then you're paying, say, $600 a week in repayments. Oh, sorry, in rent.
Yeah.
But you're not saving anything.
Yeah.
Now you're coming to me and then I say, hey, look, I want to borrow $800,000.
Yeah.
But then $800,000 loan is going to cost you probably $1,000 a week.
Exactly.
Plus you're going to pay rates, insurances, property maintenance, all that stuff. All of a sudden your repayments going to be double than
The cost
your
of
rent.
Yeah.
Tell me where that extra $600 is going to come from. Yeah? I can make it work on the paper. It looks really, really good because on paper it meets everything.
Yeah.
But you need to change something.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to get used to it. So if you're buying your first home, try to save $300, $400, $500 on top of your current rent so that you can prove to the lender. So when I was an assessor at Westbank, that's what I would look at. So, hey, look, on paper looks good, but show me the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so those sort of things. So make sure you're not missing any payments. Make sure you have enough savings on the side, and then you're not going into unarranged overdrafts, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Credit score is really important here in New Zealand if you want to take any sort of loans.
Yes, and then on the credit score thing, there's a bit of a myth. So some people think, oh yeah, I want to build my credit score, and that's why I'm applying for credit cards and personal loans and all those things. That sort of a structure doesn't work in New Zealand.
Okay.
New Zealand's credit score is slightly different. It's not like US.
Yeah.
So US, you buy the bigger the credit card, the higher the credit score.
Right.
Here is completely opposite. If you're applying for too many loans every year, it actually brings your credit score down. Right. So if you're doing 7-8 inquiries on your, for different loans every now and then, like let's say in a year you do 6, 7, 8 sort of inquiries. Yeah. All of a sudden, when you're applying for a loan, when the bank does a credit check on you, it will just flash some sort of a warning sign for them.
So even if you're going and inquiring for a loan, but you don't get it, and later when you are in the process where you want to take the loan now, that is going to affect you.
Correct. Because every time you apply, they do a credit check on you.
Yeah, I had no idea about this.
Yeah.
Good.
So if someone like me pick up the application, I'll be like, hi, this person has appetite to short-term debts. They can't control themselves.
Yeah.
Although you haven't taken that loan, but in my mind, I'll be like, oh, nah, this guy is like applying for those loans every now and then.
Yeah.
What's the guarantee they are good? Like, they're going to manage the mortgage.
Right.
So try to avoid those things.
Nice. Okay. Good to know that. So when talking about the myth, what's the biggest myth about mortgages in NZ you'd like to clear up?
Biggest thing is nowadays there's so much information out there. However, at the same time, people think they need 20% deposit to buy the first home. right? Or some of the friends will say, hey, don't buy with 10% deposit, you're paying a higher interest rate, that sort of thing. You don't need 20% deposit.
Yeah.
You buy your first home with as low as 5% deposit.
Right.
That's what I did when I bought my first home.
So did I.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a product called Kayanga, or a first home loan. So if you qualify for that, you only need 5% deposit to buy your first home, and then continue paying the mortgage within a few years. Once the property value goes up and all that stuff, you have enough equity built up. Or you can wait for like years and years and then try to save that $100,000, $200,000, and it will take you ages to do that.
Right.
So I would rather just put 5% deposit down, buy the house, and then wait for the equity to grow rather than the completely opposite.
What are the chances of equity growing up from time to time? Because sometimes in the history, we have sometimes seen the equity is also going down.
Yes.
So what's your say on that?
Again, you got to be responsible with what you're doing. So don't leave everything on other people.
Yeah.
Right? So if I go back to say 2021, everyone went crazy.
Yeah.
People were like, oh yeah, if I buy this property today, it will go up in value by by the end of the year, it's worth $50,000 more.
Yeah.
Because the property was going crazy.
Yeah.
And those are the people who have actually lost a lot of equity. People who bought like house for $1 million is probably worth 800 today. But again, at the moment, if you're not selling that house, it's just lost on the paper.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not selling it, you haven't lost that.
Right.
But if you do it today, the same house that you were buying for $1 million, if you can get it for 750, 800, I don't see any problem there. So you buy it, right? So, and then the good thing is the interest rates have also pulled
coming
back
down
quite a bit, right? So the chances are now going forward, if the interest rates stay low, and hopefully there's a bit of a demand in the property, the property values will start going up from here onwards. And
so your suggestion is to buy when there's a dip,
100%,
and then wait for the time for the property value to rise.
Yeah, so don't buy when everyone is buying. Now is a good time when like not many people are in the game at the moment, especially investors. So you're not competing with the investors at the moment. We see a lot of first-time buyers getting onto the property ladder. Not many investors, because they're a little bit shy because they don't have enough equity in their properties anymore. So investors rely heavily on the equity in the house to buy the next house.
Right.
So that's your opportunity as a first-home buyer, until they come back.
Right. So when we were talking about interest rates, right? So all the viewers who will be watching this podcast, they would be really interested to know, should they go for fixed or floating interest? And what should people really consider?
Yeah, so majority of your loan, like if you look at mortgage, like 95 to 99% of your mortgage will be on a fixed rate, because if you're leaving it on a floating rate, you'll be paying 1.5% higher than whatever the fixed rate is today. But it really depends. So when we sit down with you, when we do the whole loan structure, we'll put a small portion of the loan on a floating interest rate, but it's not just like a normal floating loan. Floating rate can change anytime, right? So today, let's say it's 6%, tomorrow it can go to 8, or it can go to 4. But there's so much uncertainty. If you leave the $1 million mortgage on a floating, you're going to regret it, because you're paying a higher interest rate from the get-go, but it has its own place. Let's say, for example, we are expecting the rates to drop in about 3 weeks' time, right? And then you don't want to lock in today. If you can sustain it, we'll leave it on floating for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, that sort of thing, and then fix it. Then it makes sense. But at the same time, banks have products like offset loans or revolving credit facility. So we'll put a very small portion of your loan on one of these products, and then we explain you what's the rationale behind it. If you use those products the way we explain you can actually pay off your mortgage in 10 years rather than 30 years. Or you have emergency fund built up in those accounts. That's a really handy tool the banks have, but they don't explain you how to use it.
That's everything that he says is so makes sense, because I'm a first home buyer as well, and it was a different experience. But while I'm talking to him, it makes much more sense. So I'm coming for you. So, would you like to give any tips to migrants in New Zealand, especially people from our community from India? How to get on the property ladder here?
Yeah, number one thing is, regardless of what stage you are at, talk to a mortgage advisor. Right? Talk to someone who has done it 1,000 times, basically. So we do it every single day. I speak multiple languages. Whether there's it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be fluent in English. Well, I speak Hindi, I speak Punjabi, a little bit of Urdu. But so if you want to get onto the property ladder, don't go to the bank directly. Talk to a mortgage advisor, because it's not just buying your house or getting a loan. It's about structuring the loan in a way that it's paid off way, way faster. So you don't have to be paying this mortgage for 30 years. Right? So you got to enjoy the house, or you want to build the wealth as well. So that's why talk to a financial advisor or mortgage advisor, sit down with them, do your numbers. Although you have nothing in your account, we can at least go through the plan. We'll give you something that maybe in 6 months, 12 months, or even 2 years time, you might be ready, and then we'll do the loan, right? And then start saving as much as you can. If you don't have anything, KiwiSaver is a really, really good way of building your deposit. If you are already in KiwiSaver for the last year or two, maybe if you're not too good with saving money, maybe increase your KiwiSaver contribution. Hopefully your deposit will grow faster with that way. Or if not, then start saving as much as you can. All you need is about 5% deposit.
That's perfect. That's really good information. Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. Yeah. Just a few more questions. It's about growth and advice from you. Mm-hmm. And what personal habits or mindset helped you to go from New Zealand new migrant to established advisor over here?
Look, hang out with the right people. That's the biggest thing. It's not... proximity is a thing, right? So if you are hanging out with the right people, the ones who are actually pushing you to grow, you will definitely grow. So if you're hanging out with the people who are not doing as good as you, although you're hanging out in a group, you might be seen as the man or the woman of the house and all that stuff, but then that group is actually not helping you to grow. Right? So you're hanging out with people who are what they look for is just the weekend, get on the booze and then, enjoy the weekend and all that stuff. And they have nothing else to do. But if you're hanging out with the right people who are, doing multiple businesses, or they're learning the things that, other people are not learning, they push you to grow, right? So if I've been fortunate enough to hang out with some of those people, although I wasn't the most intelligent person, but because my company or the people I was hanging out with pushed me so much, my mindset has actually changed. So I'm now not looking for something like, hey, look, I want to save $20 or $10 here and this and that. So rather than focusing on saving $20 here and there, how about you focus on earning $200? Right? So don't focus on saving too much. Focus on increasing your income if you can, right? And that will only come with if you're hanging with the right people.
Thank you so much. That's a very good advice. And yes, I agree. Everyone should follow that. Having the right company really matters. So if you could go back and give advice to yourself when you first arrived here in NZ, what would that be?
It's funny, when I was here, I was looking for jobs. I would just print a CV. Even that CV was I didn't even know what the CV was. Right?
Yeah.
When I came here, because back in home, we never applied for jobs like this.
Yeah.
So I copy-pasted my friend's CV. All I did was just change my name on it.
Yeah.
But later on, I figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
But what I was doing, I was walking, walking throughout the day.
Yeah.
We'll probably walk 10, 15 kilometers every single day, just dropping my CVs here and there. Hey, do you have a job? Do you have a job? Mm-hmm. But then it could have been a little bit smarter. Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was a website called Seek or Trade Me and other websites.
There's New Zealand websites to apply for jobs.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So keep applying. Make sure your resume and cover letter are up to the standard. Don't use just the basic stuff. Customize it.
Yeah.
Nowadays you have ChatGPT and whatnot. But to be frank with you, all these experienced business people, they will sense it. So if you are applying for a job and then you asking ChatGPT to write the whole CV and everything, will know. Who wrote it? Like, the people.
Be genuine. Use. You can take a help. Right?
Yeah. So make mistake. That's okay. But then don't be like too perfect. So if I have to restart my whole journey, I would take more risk.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in a comfort zone myself. I mean, although I pushed myself, but I was a little bit late.
Yes.
But anyway, if I were to restart today, I'll probably start hanging out with the right people at the beginning. Hang out. To be honest with you, the rich people or the wealthy people are the nicest people, right? So there's a bit of a perception here. People think like, oh yeah, because that guy is rich, he's a. That's not true. The richer or the wealthier the people, the nicest they are. And then when you ask someone for help, they actually do help you. Right? It's not. If I look at my whole business model, the strangers have helped me so much to grow, right?
Absolutely.
Your own circle will help you a little bit, but not much. You can't grow that far. But when you're talking to stranger, ask for help. They will really, really help you. Don't be shy.
Absolutely. So where do you see the house market in the next 5 years?
Look, it's all supply and demand. If I look at it now, we probably, I don't know, if you compare it with the peak in 2021 versus today, we are down by 20-25% from the peak. And going forward, we are expecting the interest rates to drop further. But it's funny that nobody really has a strong answer where the interest rate is going to go. Because if you listen to some economists, they've been saying like since 2023, the property market will start going up from now onwards. But it hasn't. It's been flat. One of the main reasons being the migration, because a lot of Kiwis have left and then gone to Australia. We don't have many people here who can buy the houses. But going forward, next year is election year. Obviously, the government will do something. Hopefully, open up for more migrants and whatnot. And we're expecting the interest rates to drop from next month onward. We already have
going further down.
So we already got about 4.7% from all the way up to 7%. Hopefully, within the next couple of months, your 1 year rate will go below 4.5%. There'll be more demand coming up for that. If I look at what Reserve Bank is saying, they're expecting the house values to grow by around 5 to 6% within the next 12 months, and then maybe another 6% the next year. So if you look at that way, in 5 years' time, if you're buying something for around $800,000 today, it might be worth close to 950.
Okay.
So
Very
might grow, but then again, you gotta be picky and choosy. So when you're buying a property, don't buy it as an ATM machine. So don't expect, okay, I'm gonna buy this today and then I'm gonna make so much money out of it, but because it can go the other way around as well.
Absolutely.
Right. Make sure whatever property you're buying, you have the intentions to live there for another 4 or 5 years. Or if the market goes the other way around, you can still handle it.
Now, very true. So finally, what's the message to young people, new migrants over here in New Zealand? What would be your message?
Take the risk. Don't be shy. Talk to people. Talk to the ones who you admire, right? So if you want to be someone, just talk to them. I'm an introvert myself as well, but then if you throw me in a situation, I'll probably do something. But my main advice is take risk and grow yourself. Don't be the guy who's only focused on earning $20 an hour or $25 an hour. Every hour matters, but just grow yourself. Learn new things. Don't be limited to just one industry, because we don't know. Even I don't know what if mortgage brokers will survive in the next 5 years or even 2 years, because AI is coming for everyone. Learn new things. Try to learn AI if you can.
Absolutely.
That's a must. That's a must. And then just get out there, meet new people, take risk.
Now, thank you so much for all the advices you gave. Now it's time for endorsing me, right?
100%.
So how was your overall experience doing this podcast? And if you could just share, how did it go? What are the things you like? What are the things you can recommend me to make it better? And also just ask the viewers to subscribe and share it with their friends, so I can grow as well.
100%. Look, I mean, Ms. Baz is doing a really good job.
Thank you.
Like all these questions he has asked, it's not about endorsing me or like promoting my services and stuff. So this is, I like this podcast because all these questions he has asked is for the community to grow. Like this is for new migrants who are facing challenging situations and whatnot. Look, if anyone needs help, like feel free to call me as well. But then obviously he's doing a great job. All these questions he has asked are real genuine sort of questions. They're not like very scripted. I haven't even seen these questions before he started asking me. So I think if you want to grow faster in this country, learn from other people. Because if you go to, let's say, look at Chinese culture, they don't reinvent the wheel, so they learn from the master. So if you are new to this country, watch his podcast. He's doing a great job because obviously he talks about all these subjects that the migrants care about. If you want to learn about the New Zealand culture and everything, follow his channel, and then hopefully I will probably come back at some stage and probably give you more tips every now and then. But he's a great guy. Follow his channel.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev, and really appreciate that. And thank you so much for all the viewers who have watched this entire podcast and spent some time with us to understand what we are doing here. So, I mean, we are done here, but just some basic questions I'm going to ask him, like, what's your favorite food in New Zealand?
Man, I eat a lot of pies.
He's a pie guy, right? So, on pie, that's a Kiwi food, of course. What would you say your favorite Kiwi slang?
I use this word a lot, bro.
Bro.
Because the good thing here is, like, no matter who you're talking to, like even you're talking to the the top end or the local guy here, they all like this. When you use this word, it's just something personal. Like you can't use it for everyone, but then most people like it.
Right.
It's like, hey bro, how you doing?
give me two more Kiwi slangs that you like.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. What else? I mean, there's
Cheer?
so many. Cheer, cheer, bro.
Cheers, mate.
That's chill. Those sort of things. But then mostly I use this word a lot, like bro.
What's your favorite part of New Zealand where you like to visit?
Look, I mean, Queenstown, obviously everyone's favorite. Auckland is not bad either because we've got so many beaches. There's so many things to do, even in Auckland itself. For me, my favorite part is Paia up north. So there's Bay of Plenty, Bay of Islands, sorry. So Bay of Islands, you go to Paia, very nice, relaxed. Like not too many options there, but that's how I like it. It's quiet. Sometimes I get burned because of the work and whatnot. We go there. We do a bit of a kayaking there because the water is a bit quiet. Because I don't know swimming, so I don't take too much of a risk. But, so go there if you ever want to travel. If you haven't been to Paia, it's a very nice place.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. It was really amazing and really good to talk to you today. Thank you so much, and probably we'll get back him on our channel again and make another video.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.